So last Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, May 4th, Phil Lyman announced Natalie Clawson to be his selection for Lieutenant Governor. The selection was made following a decision that same day wherein a district court judge declared Lyman's former selection, Lane Bangerter, to be ineligible. Lyman said, "I am thrilled to be joined by Natalie in this campaign. She brings an impressive skill set, connections, integrity, and experience to the office that will be vital as we move Utah back in the right direction." End of quote. Now, folks, I know Natalie because we have worked together in the trenches, so to speak, on grassroots issues important to the sacred cause of liberty. I'm absolutely delighted with Phil's selection of Natalie Clawson. And I'm happy to give you, the KTALK audience, this morning your first glimpse at one of the most impressive yet humble, effective yet teachable, professional yet friendly people in all the world. Natalie, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. What a kind introduction that was from you. Thank you. It's great to be on this show with you, Lowell.
Well, I thought about those adjectives and those words last night, Natalie, but I stand by them 100%. You are impressive, and yet you are one of the most humble, teachable people I know. You're professional in everything that I've seen you do, and yet you're friendly. You're not a highbrow. You don't look down at other people. You are one of us, one of the common people, so to speak, and I am so delighted with Phil's choice. And so, is your world upside down yet? How does it feel to be a candidate for Lieutenant Governor of Utah?
Oh, it has been so exciting, and yes, a huge change. I can't tell you how many messages I've gotten from people who had no idea that this was coming. I think this was a surprise to a lot of people, including myself when Phil originally reached out to me. So we've been talking for a while about this, and I knew it was a possibility for a while. But yes, it has been a big change for me and my family, but an exciting one.
Well, that is so awesome. And, that's the question we're all asking. How did you and Phil, how do you and Phil know each other, and why did he, how did he come to the decision to select you as his lieutenant governor?
That's a great question, and one that mostly is because of what you and me and Lou, who was on before, I was listening to that segment of the show, we worked on together the Secure Vote Utah voting initiative, where we wanted to help bring more transparency to the voting process. And we went through the code section by section for months and months. And we poured over it to try to make any changes that we could to just bring more transparency to the process so people could trust the process more. And we did a statewide voting initiative. And we ran a big grassroots campaign and found the response overwhelming, that people were very much in support of doing anything we could to make our system more secure. After we finished the initiative, Phil Lyman, and during the process too, we were in connection with him, and he was a member of the House of Representatives and agreed, and he was excited to run a bill supporting what we were doing. And so we knew once we were not able to get the signatures we needed, we appreciated Phil's help in taking it to the legislature. So that's where I really first became acquainted with him.
I want to emphasize how important that is, ladies and gentlemen. Natalie Clawson read the Utah Code 20A. There's a section of Utah Code. It's section 20A. A is in alphabet, right? 20A, and that's where and it's not a short piece of code. It's like 450 pages or something. It's massive. And Natalie Clawson read that from top to bottom probably a number of times, probably several times. I know that Lou was combing through it. I would comb through it. And Natalie, who authored the initiative, basically had to rewrite that section of code. And that is no small task. That's like a doctoral thesis in itself just to rewrite that code. But she did it. And I just want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that in my opinion, Natalie Clawson probably knows the election code better than almost anybody on the planet right now because of her diligent efforts to author that Secure Vote initiative. I don't think I'm overstating that, Natalie. You probably went through that code number of times to get acquainted with it enough in order to author that initiative. Is that not the case?
That is true. We spent several months together or going over the code. So I was working on it, you and Lou. But yes, I did go through that section many, many times as we tried there's so many different paths of things that we can do to just tighten up the system better. But yes, it was very tedious.
And that's such a big issue right now, election integrity. We have to restore the people's confidence in our election system or we lose our republic. And right now, you and I both know there's a lot of cheating that goes on. There's a lot of votes cast for people who are dead or who don't live in the state or who voted in another state. I mean, the list is pretty long about all of the voter fraud and the election fraud that's occurring around us nowadays. And so I just cannot think of a person better qualified than you to take this office, to fill this office. Now, let's go back and get to know you just a little bit. I want to do kind of what I call a slow introduction of you, Natalie, because I want to take just a minute on each aspect of your education and your career. You are a Utah County native. I think you grew up in Orem. Is that right?
That's right.
You know, and I know your mom and dad, your brother and your sisters, every single one of them, they're wonderful, talented, personable. How is it that your family came to have such an interest in civic issues?
Oh, that is a great question. We have really great parents who have just taught us from birth about the importance of our country and a great love of America. We had grandparents that would make sure that we were always at the 4th of July parade and that we were celebrating it. And my mom has served for a number of years on the Freedom Festival board in Provo, and so that's been a big part of our family. Some of our biggest traditions are attending all the events in the summer that recognize America and the greatness of America, and she's in charge of the Hope of America program, which is actually taking place this week at the Marriott Center. So it will be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, where 5th graders across the whole state come to the Marriott Center, all dressed in clothes, looking like a giant American flag, and sing patriotic songs about the love of America. And my kids participate in that. They participate in the speech contests and art contests that the Freedom Festival offers. So it's been a part of my family ever since I remember that we've loved America. So grateful for the freedoms that we have here, studied the lives of the founders, and just have a great appreciation and love for this wonderful country that we are a part of.
Oh, that is so wonderful. You know, the Peterson sisters, you're famous among the grassroots workers for freedom because you and your sisters, your brother, your mom and dad, tremendous, wonderful, and you've given so much back to the community. Your dad served in Orem. Was it city council or was he mayor?
He's city council.
Yeah, City
right.
Council of Orem, just a wonderful gentleman, and all of you have such a wonderful spirit about you. You're soft-spoken, but you're firm. You know what is right. You understand the value of liberty, and you stand up for it in every venue. I mean, I just can't say enough about all of you. Now, let's talk about your education just a little bit. Where did you go to school, and what degrees did you obtain?
I graduated from Orem High School in Orem, and it was a great school. I had both of my grandparents had taught there at one time, which was really fun, right before my time. But and then I attended BYU and studied political science. And I've loved politics since I was young. I remember going to sleep at night and it had my little clock radio next to me and trying to listen to podcasts or radio programs talking about our country, but it's always been something that I've been interested in. So I loved political science. I had a focus on international politics. I was especially interested in China politics and what's going on, comparing our country, our great country, to some of the other systems. And then I served a mission after I graduated from BYU in political science. And also went to Jerusalem, did a study abroad during that time of schooling. Served a mission in Germany, Hamburg. And then I came back and went to BYU Law School and just loved my time at BYU Law School.
And you got you were admitted to the Utah State Bar in 2003, I understand, right?
That's right. Yeah.
That is so awesome. You know, that Jerusalem study abroad, I actually applied for that back in oh man, probably 76 or 7, maybe 79. I can't remember when. It was 76. And there was this cute girl from Mud Lake, Idaho, that was going to Jerusalem study abroad. Her name was Julie. And so I was so excited to study at Jerusalem, spend a semester in Jerusalem too, mainly because of her. She was just so cute, and I was chasing her. But that never happened for me. I'm glad that you got to go study at Jerusalem abroad for a semester. I'm sure it would have been wonderful. It's an opportunity that I did not take. I just at the last minute decided that I shouldn't be going there. For Julie, I really needed to be going for my education. So a little side note there. But well, tell us now. You have a family of your own as well, and you're going to be right. Your time is going to be devoted towards first the campaign this month for sure, this month and next, and then as lieutenant governor. What drives you, Natalie, to be so willing to devote so much of your time to your community, your county, and your state?
That is a great question. It's interesting because my background probably doesn't match most people who are running for a lieutenant governor. I have not been trying to go up the political ladder. I have not been campaigning and running for other offices, but I have been trying to make a difference wherever I can. And I've been involved in, on my school, my PTA, on my school community council. I'm also on our district community council, so I've been very involved on educational issues. My involvement on election issues. I feel like this is a time that we look around and we see what's going on in our country and in our state, and we need good people to stand up. And when asked to serve in this capacity, I felt really strongly that this is an opportunity that I have to make a difference. And I've been trying to make a difference in every aspect and every time I can. And this has felt like the right thing for me and for my family to do. I look at our country and I really feel like Utah needs to be leading out on these conservative causes. And we need to be truth tellers. We need to be standing up for our freedoms. And this is a time that we need good people to be involved in that fight.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, we are visiting with Natalie Clawson, candidate for lieutenant governor, with Phil Lyman, the state party convention winner with a landslide 2/3 of the delegate vote. Natalie, you really are amazing, and you're involved with so many wonderful things. I know not only the Secure Vote Utah initiative, but also the flag referendum, and then later the flag initiative. Folks, I can't underscore enough the importance of Natalie Clawson as a candidate for lieutenant governor. See, most people involved in politics are climbers, right? They want to go from one seat to the next seat higher up, and they want to be involved in politics. They want to wield power. That's what most people in politics want to do. Well, Natalie is not that way. She wants to serve. She wants to truly be a public servant. And in fact, that's Phil Lyman's mindset too. He's a public servant. He wants to preserve liberty for us, the people. And so, Natalie is not a climber. She's a worker. And you have probably seen her, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. If you have been out and about, you probably have seen Natalie already. If you've signed the flag initiative, or if you signed the Secure Vote Utah initiative a couple of years ago, you've probably already met Natalie. She is one of us. She is a champion of liberty and someone who works in the trenches every day, day in and day out, for you and for me, for our liberty and for our children. Maybe take a minute and tell us. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to call in and ask a question of Natalie, here's your opportunity. Our phone number is 385-330-5900, extension 100, and we'd be happy to take a question from you that you have for Natalie. But Natalie, take a minute and tell us a little bit about what you've done in your schools, because you have a number of children in school, and you've tried to make things better for them as well.
That's right. And can I just mention, you talked about being involved in all these grassroots issues with
Yeah.
the Secure Vote Utah and then also the Flag Initiative. And it has been really fun because we have had to, well, with the Secure Vote Utah, we only had 5 weeks to get 128,000 signatures throughout the entire state of Utah. So we worked so hard to connect with people, and we met the most incredible people throughout the state. People in their own communities who've been standing up and are fighting for freedoms, and we're so excited to be connected with other people who are like-minded and saw how great of a country we have and how we need to work so hard to preserve these freedoms we have. Anyway, it was just incredible. It's been incredible these last few years to meet so many wonderful people throughout the state. And I feel that this campaign with Bill Lyman, that a lot of these people are making a difference, and we're so grateful for this grassroots support of this campaign because they realize how important this election is. So I'm grateful that I was able to be involved in those causes these last couple of years and to meet all these wonderful people. But then to continue you asked about education. So I come from a family of educators. All 4 of my grandparents were school teachers, and my dad was on the school board. And it's always been an important public school, and the education system has been a very important part of our family. I've seen things coming into our schools. We have too much of a national presence and a national agenda being pushed onto our children in different ways, and I've been very concerned about that. And so I decided to get involved in every level that I can. I've been very active in my school PTA, and I've been serving as an advocacy rep for the last few years with that. And then also I've been on the school community council in both my elementary and middle school, where it's a group of parents who represent the rest of the parents and help decide issues on curriculum and other things. And then I was asked by our school board member to serve on the district community council, where I'm able to represent parents on the district level. So I've been able to see and be involved in a lot of different education issues. And I think we have wonderful teachers in our state, incredible teachers who sacrifice and make a difference for our children. And I want to support them however we can. And I also want to stand strong for the values that we have in Utah and to push back against some of these very harmful and damaging things that are entering in our schools through the curriculum in other ways.
Absolutely. Now, you did a lot of research and published a number of issues related to law and religious freedom back when you were at BYU, I understand, Natalie. Tell us a little bit about those issues and what drew you to write about those issues.
Oh, thank you for asking me. That was the highlight for sure of my law school career. I worked with the BYU Center for International Law and Religion Studies, and it was such an incredible opportunity to work on these very important issues. And the center would host people from around the world who are really the gatekeepers on religious freedom, and so we would build relationships with those people, and then also study their system. So my particular topic that I was really worked on was on, I went to law school back in 2002, is when I graduated. So we were there not that much longer after the fall of the Soviet Union, where the whole Eastern Bloc countries were trying to figure out how do they handle religion in their countries. And a lot of them were opening the door, but also very concerned about what multiple religious organizations, the effect that would have on the country. So they developed some laws about how a religious organization would organize and be registered. So my particular focus was on all the Eastern Bloc countries, what the laws were that they had in place that pertain to religious organizations. And then after we identified that and studied those, then we were in a situation where we could help each of those countries to implement better policies that would be more conducive to religious freedom in their own countries.
So awesome. So you're not only helping people in your own community and state, you're helping people around the world, Natalie.
Right. It's been interesting. Having this assignment or this opportunity to serve and to run for this office has been really interesting because I've looked back on on my career, which has been, I mean, a big part of it has been raising my children, but I've also been involved in all these other things along the way. And it just things kind of make sense to me. I mean, I've spent time in adoptions and estate planning and living wills, and the Lieutenant Governor's office oversees a lot of that type of work also. And another thing, I also attended police academy after law school, as I worked as a bailiff in the courtroom, and so it's interesting I was able to gain a great appreciation for law enforcement. So, I mean, I've had a very interesting few years behind me that a lot of these things are all feeling like they're coming together in what I'm doing right now.
Oh, that is so much fun. Just love that. Now, what other? I've asked you a series of questions, but we have about 3 or 4 minutes left. What else would you like us to know about you and about your candidacy, Natalie? Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking with Natalie Clawson, who was selected just last Saturday by Phil Lyman as his lieutenant governor candidate. Now, Phil Lyman won the delegate support with a landslide, 2/3 of the delegate vote at the state convention last week, and he has selected Natalie Clawson to be his lieutenant governor. And so, Natalie, just tell us in the remaining 2 or 3 minutes that we have, anything else that you'd like us to know about you and about your candidacy and Phil's candidacy?
Thank you. So I am just grateful to be here, grateful for so many wonderful people around the state and to be able to serve with them. And I was really grateful for and honored to be asked by Phil Lyman to run with him. And I've watched him over the last few years. I was first associated with him, as I said, with it when we did our Secure Vote Utah and his efforts to help bring more transparency to the election system. And I've seen him stand up on huge issues where no one else was standing up. And he took on the flag initiative, which was important to me, that we wanted to preserve the flag that we've had for so many years. I was concerned about the whole process of bringing in a new flag without having the people buy into it and the people behind the organization, the idea of how we're getting rid of so many of our old things right now and replacing them. And anyway, Phil Lyman took that issue on, and he put that before the legislature again to try to preserve our flag. So, and then I've seen him stand in defense of our school board member who was condemned by almost the entire elected body throughout the state of Utah, and he stood for her. So I really appreciate him and his willingness to lead out and stand on these issues, and I feel the same way. I feel very passionate that this is an important time in our state and in our country, and that we for freedom. And I'm grateful to be part of this campaign. And like Bull just said, Phil Lyman won with a huge majority in the state convention, and I encourage everybody to get to know more about him and me and our campaign. And I think that you will just jump on this train too. That we've got a lot of momentum going forward, and I think our biggest obstacle right now is just to get the word out and let people know that there is an alternative, and we can be a leader in the state. I mean, in the country, we can lead out on good principles and on truths and on freedoms, and just encourage everybody to get involved. You can go to lymanforutah.com to find more about our platform, and then help spread the word with your friends and family.
That website again, Lyman for Utah, and the word "for" is spelled out, F-O-R, right? lymanforutah.com.
That's right.
That's how you can get involved, folks. Visit lymanforutah.com. Learn about Phil Lyman. Learn about Natalie Clawson, and join in. Spread the word. Donate. If you have time, then spread the word. Talk to your neighbors. If you have money, donate to his campaign. If you have both time and money, that's wonderful. And just do all you can to support these two in their bid for the Utah governorship and lieutenant governorship here in Utah. It'll be a sea change from the current administration. It'll be very different. It'll be liberty oriented. I just can't say enough about it. and about you, Natalie. Thank you so much for being with us. Anything else you want to say before we sign off here?
Yeah, but this is a pure grassroots movement. This is a movement throughout Utah, and we really need people, like you said, we really need people to support and get on board. We're not being funded by big tech. We're not being funded by big pharma, and this is a campaign of neighbor to neighbor and letting people know more about this campaign and these issues and fighting for these freedoms like you mentioned.
Well, thank you again, Natalie, for being with us here today on the path to state and local sovereignty. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Natalie Clawson, a candidate for lieutenant governor in the state of Utah, here with Phil Lyman, candidate for governor. And we appreciate your spending a part of your morning, very busy morning, with us, Natalie. Thanks again.
Thank you, Will.
All right, bye now.
Goodbye.
There she goes, ladies and gentlemen. Natalie Clawson, wonderful candidate for lieutenant governor here in the state of Utah. Stay tuned right here. Keep it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Next up today from 10 to noon is the congenial and conversational John Twitchell hosting his show, Talk with John, right here on KTALK Media, KBJA, 1640 AM. Stay with us.
Also, multiple injuries. Damage is also reported in Bartlesville, about 20 miles north.